summer. Welcome to my channel, Red Lipstick Book Addict, where we like to talk about mysteries, thrillers, romances, and so much more. All opinions are welcome, of course, because here we like to talk about not only why we love to love books, but also why we love to hate them. And today, we're going to be talking about Miss Freida McFadden's Never Lie. This is a psychological thriller, of course, and it just happens to be one of my favorites by her. It's about newlyweds Trisha and Ethan, who are searching for the house of their dreams only to stumble across the house of their nightmares. And this creepy and yet beautiful mansion of a house just so happens to have once belonged to the renowned psychiatrist Adrian Hale. And while they're stuck in this house because there's a snow blizzard storming outside, Trisha is trying to piece together what happened to Adrian Hale. Are the clues in her own house? So I thought that was a pretty fun element. And yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, I found this to be, I would say, I'm going to go ahead and rate it 4 stars out of 5 because I did really like it. And one of the things I liked was that the plot twist felt earned. There was a slow burn suspense building up to the plot twist, which if you watched my review about The Inmate, that was what I felt like was lacking in The Inmate. There were plot twists in The Inmate, but they didn't feel earned because there weren't like those fun little clues that were leading us up to it, and there wasn't a suspense. This had a lot of suspense, so I really enjoyed that. Also, the characters were really interesting. We kind of got a little bit of backstory with them. Like with Adrian Hale, she was an interesting character for sure. I found myself feeling a little bit sorry for her at times, then being shocked by some of the things she did, and yet somehow rooting for her. So she was interesting and compelling. Trisha, I was not a big fan of hers ever. The only thing I liked about her was how nosy she was. I thought it was kind of funny, and I thought it was funny that her her husband, Ethan, was constantly like, why are you so nosy? And then she just was still like trying to find stuff anyway. And I kind of got aggravated with the guy, Ethan, in this, which is funny because my fiance's name is Ethan, and I like him a lot, but this Ethan in this book, he sucks. And the thing about it is, their chemistry, Trisha and Ethan's chemistry, it was not convincing for me at all. And I kind of think it was written that way a little bit on purpose because we were supposed to figure out there was more lying underneath the surface. Anyway, sorry. So, but yeah, so, and I thought, okay, just one thing that's just funny to mention, it's not like necessarily important to the story, but in the book, Trisha's always talking about Ethan's hot breath, and I'm like, girl, that is not hot. It's not sexy at all. And I'm like, Freida, why do you keep writing about that? But anyway, and Luke and Adrian's chemistry is a good thing to compare the other characters' chemistry, because Luke and Adrian, even though, you know, spoiler alert, their story does not end well, I was rooting for them. They had good chemistry, and they were kind of like the couple that didn't make sense, but then they somehow did. Luke is kind of like this little nerdy guy who's awkward and disheveled and clumsy and whatnot, and Adrian is just this polished, cold, you know, sort of, she's really successful and she doesn't really let anybody in. So they're like a fun dynamic, I feel like. And I was gonna say that I thought this book was good about setting tone. I thought it was really good about, we knew what we were supposed to be feeling in the moment. I do think there could have been a little bit more description for like what stuff looked like, especially since it takes place in this really cool mansion. I think that we could have got a little bit more description there. But I did think it was fun with the video cassette tapes that Trisha ends up finding. I thought it was smart that Freida wrote it that way, because she could have wrote it that Trisha was just clicking on a file on the psychiatrist's computer, and that wouldn't have been very fun to read about. But the thought of somebody taking like this old video cassette tape and putting it in a tape recorder and listening to it, and that was more interesting for me to read about. So I liked that element of it. I will say one thing I wasn't really crazy about was the epilogue. It felt out of place, wasn't necessary, and even if she took the epilogue out, I felt like the ending was kind of weak. I just think that the story was so good, there just was a better way to wrap it up. But I did think it was fun that she kind of ended this story similarly to The Inmate, which speaks to her writing style. So that's kind of fun. So this one says at the last line, "After all, my mother always said that the only way two people can keep a secret is if one of them is dead." This is a line that's repeated a few times in the story, and then at the very end, the closing line, it's kind of said the most ominously of all. Same thing with The Inmate. If we look at that, this one ends, "After all, I would do anything for my mom." So I'm curious to see if in the next book I read by Freida that she does that again. And I will definitely come back and let you know if she does. But yeah, did great with the pacing despite the flashbacks, and the characters were fun to read about. The plot twist felt earned. It was suspenseful. So overall, 4 stars out of 5. Please let me know in the comments down below if you liked this book, or if you didn't, what you liked about it or what you didn't. And like, comment, subscribe. All right, thank you. Bye.